but the first word that came to me that I heard was more of you. And during the course of the service, I kept praying. I said, God, are you asking us to ask for more of you? Because that was the first thing I thought. But so my mindset went that direction. But the more I asked, the more I was told, no, you're getting it wrong. I'm not asking you to ask for more of me. I'm asking for more of you. And I said, okay, Lord, is this message for everybody? And the word says it's not. So there will be people in this audience today that this does not pertain to. This is particularly for those that the Lord have categorized into 3 different groups for me. And the first passage that He gave me was Matthew 15, verse 24. It says, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep. So if you're standing upright and you think you have it right, you're doing it right, that's fine. This message is purposely for those that the Lord is giving another chance. And that's why it kind of tied back into today's sermon, where He says you're being given another chance. One more chance. And one more chance to do what? One more chance for you to give more of you back to Him. Amen. So, as I said earlier, there are 3 categories. There are people that the Lord defined to me as broken systems, which means you feel you're worthless. You feel the storm of life has beaten you so hard that you've gotten to a stage in life that you don't even see any worth in yourself. You don't understand why you're serving this God. It's become almost foreign to you. You're just moving through the corridor of life. And then there are those that He called the buried graves. You're now at the point of hopelessness. You've lost all hope. You've prayed, you've fasted, and just like a seed that you bury in the ground, you don't even see. You don't have any hope of seeing the glimpse of light. You're just there. And then there are those that He called the melted gold, which means right now you're going through a tough time. It seems like it's so tough that you've been left alone. You feel like you just can't bear it anymore. The Lord wants me to tell you congratulations, because you are a work in progress. It's not finished with you. Amen. And the more I went through this, the more I kept saying, God, I'm a hybrid of all these 3. Why do I have to be the one to give this message? And I kept fighting it. And even this morning, I kept saying to myself, because over the weekend I was a little sick, and I was justifying why I shouldn't come to church today. But the Spirit was just telling me, you have to be in church. Whether you like it or not, this is a message. It speaks not only to you, but there are other people within the congregation that I want you to pass this message on to. So once again, it says you are a work in progress. And just like any work in progress, for it to be unveiled in its massive glory, it has to go through trials. It has to go through some rework. And He's confirming that He's the masterpiece. So for those that feel like they're a broken system, I just want to take you down the path. If you think of a broken vessel, it's worthless in anyone's eyes. But in the eyes of a craftsman, this is a new piece he can work with. He'll take that broken vessel, he'll break it further, and then rearrange it and make it into like a mosaic, and then put it in a museum, and it becomes an object of awe. It's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. But to an ordinary eye, it doesn't even look like anything. It's worthless. He wants me to tell you, you are that broken vessel. Right now you're feeling worthless, but it's probably going to break you further down. But He's going to remold you into an object that becomes an object of glory unto His name. So just stand in there. And the other thing is, I think for a lot of us that fall within these 3 categories, over the course of 2015, and I hope I'm speaking to a couple of people here, because of what you're going through or what you've gone through, whether it's been through sin or you've prayed and fasted and it seems like nothing is happening, some of us have fallen. Either through sin or lack of faith, or we've said things like, as the preacher said today, we've said things that are derogatory to our God. We've asked, where are you? You're not answering me. I'm not coming to church. And I know I'm a culprit of that. There were times when I said to myself, I've seen other people come to the church, even new members, and I've seen the Lord do marvelous things in their lives. How much more those of us that come and give all of ourselves And he kept reminding me, to whom much is given, much is expected. So if you think you're doing it, you've done it, you've given it all, it's because he's giving you the ability to give more. So this year is asking for more of you. He's saying that you may feel betrayed, and now you're at the point where you're relying on your own understanding. And I know I've been in that situation where I've said, you know what? You said I should not do this, do this, do this, do this. I've kept all your commandments, and why am I going through this? If you allow me to go through this, you're the same God in your word that says, you will not test me beyond my faith. Yes. And I feel that if you're making me to go through this, I can't handle it anymore. So now I'm going to rely on my own understanding. The Lord is saying to you today, you need to wake up. You cannot rely on your own understanding. Otherwise, you keep failing. And as the preacher said, you're being given one more chance to redirect your step back onto Christ. Also, if we remember, the word of the Lord says, all of us have sinned and fallen short of his glory. He wants me to remind you that he knows that, and he's waiting with open arms. No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've done, no matter the sins you've committed, he's saying he's there, and he's requiring more of you this year. Don't feel because you've done certain things that you're now ashamed of that you cannot come back to Christ. He's actually asking you to give more of him. And I kept asking, why are you asking us to give you more of us? Why don't you just fill us with more of you? And I was taken through, understanding that you have to give more of yourself. Think about it. When you give more of yourself, you become almost empty. And that's the only time he can now start filling you with himself.
Amen.
So there's no doubt that you have to almost be dead, just like that buried seed. You have to get to that point where you've emptied it all. You have to feel like that broken cistern where you feel like you're worthless. You've been, and now you only have one hope. You have to hold on to him for him to fill you with more of himself.
Amen.
1 Corinthians 15 verse 35 says, but someone will say, how are the dead raised? And what kind of body do they come? And I kept asking, why are you giving me this passage? And it took me the path of, when you think of a corn seed, you have to bury it. It has to die. But then what happens when it dies? It starts to germinate. When it germinates, it gets that energy to creep through the soil, and then it gets the glimpse of the light. Then it starts growing. And that one seed will now give ears of corn. So that seed has to be taken from that object of dishonor, that object of hopelessness, for it to actually get into that, in the hands of the farmer, or in the case of the broken cistern, in the hands of the craftsman, or in the case of those that feel like melted gold, in the hands of a really experienced goldsmith, for it to get to that pinnacle of glory. So that's where he's taking some of us. I know it's tough. And I know that there are some people in this church that are going through certain things that we can't even discuss with anyone. And there are decisions in our lives that we've taken that sometimes you can't even discuss it with other people because you're not happy about it, you're either ashamed about it, or you're just frustrated with everything. But the Lord is saying you're a work in progress, but you need to give more of you for him to fill you with more of himself. So I kept asking God, why more of us? And I was also reminded of, when you think of the story of Elijah and the woman of Zarephath, she had to give not even just more, everything to him. He's asking us to give more of us, and sometimes it may be all of us for him to fill us with more of him. The same thing with the widow. Everyone gave everything they had, the surplus. But she only had 2 pennies, and that was all she had. So you can imagine, if you think you've given it all, look deep in yourself. You really haven't. And that was for me a reality check, that things that I thought I was doing right, okay, I'm giving more of myself, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's actually still more that I can do. And that is what God is asking all of us 2016, more of you. He wants more of you so that you can be emptied of all these unworthy things. So that you can give him the room. You can give Christ, the Almighty, Father, the only one, the ultimate craftsman, the only one that can design your life. You can give him that space to come in and fill himself with more of you. We have to keep reminding ourselves, he's a God of reciprocity. You have to empty to receive. If you don't, then you're telling him you're full of yourself, you have enough. So you have to give more of yourself for God to get into you. He is promising us abundance, blessing, his peace and joy, his uncommon favor, his miracles, the very, very best from his treasury. Those are some of the things that the Lord is saying he's ready to give us this 2016. But we have to give more of ourselves. We need to empty ourselves to give room for us to contain and receive all that he has planned for us this year. You are a work in progress. You may require one or multiple reworks. So if you fall, don't be afraid. Look up to the heavens, grab onto him and say, I've relied up to this point on my own confidence to walk with you. 2016, I want to rely on confidence. I want to grab onto his confidence, not my own confidence. Because I know he's the all in all. He can do all. And the Bible tells us, I can do all things through Christ. Who strengthens me. So we need to anchor onto him. When you think of a baby, and that's the way I see myself this year, when a baby is trying to walk, it falls. Does he stay down? He gets up and tries again. And sometimes he will fall multiple times. But over the course of that training, eventually the baby is going to stand upright. And then you see the baby take the first step, the second step, and it learns it. God is reminding all of us today, those broken systems, those buried seed, those melted gold, that because you're a work in progress, you may fall. Rise and keep going. If you get it right the first time, that is perfect. If you don't be dismayed. Try again. So to wrap it up, Veogians, all you broken systems, you buried grains, or you melted raw gold, the Lord is asking for more of you today. Come as you are. He's not asking for a saint, because as I said, this message is not for everybody. He's asking you to come as you are. And neither is he promising that you won't fall. I think that's the mistake a lot of us make. We think because we're in a church, a Bible church, a God-filled church, a church where, I don't know if any of you feels this way. I know I do. If I stray or I've done something I shouldn't do, and I come in, I feel like somebody is going to call me out, or the word of God is going to convict me. If you're not getting that and you come to this church, you're in the wrong place. When you've sinned or you've done something that doesn't glorify his name, the moment you walk in, even the thought of going to church should petrify you. That I'm going in and somebody, for me, I almost feel like I'm transparent at that point. That the moment I walk in, and unfortunately, I will have to confess, there are times when I don't come to church for that reason. I stay away. I'm like, oh, I'm going to walk in, and somebody's going to say, yeah, last night you were blasphemy. You were laying in your bed and questioning God's existence. And if you don't feel that way yet, where you feel like when you come into his presence, you feel like something, he sees you all, then you're not at that point yet. You need to give more of you to him. All he's assuring us is that he's ready with open arms to receive us.
Amen.
Remember, Christ is the farmer.
Yes.
He's the craftsman. He's the goldsmith. He's ready to turn you from a work in progress and unveil your new exhibition. So your exhibition day is around the corner. In his glory, he's ready to unveil you. But you just have to give more of you this year. If you don't mind, I'd like you to turn to Psalm 119. And this is, like I said, it's not for everyone. It's for anyone that feels it pertains to them. And if you can just try on a daily basis to read this, and it says, teach me, O Lord, the ways of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away my eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken unto me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant, who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach, which I fear, for thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. May the Lord give us the grace to be able to give more of us so that he can fill us with more of him this evening.